This is like a woman's dating journey, right? One of her date nights. I think it's interesting. I sometimes like to check out these women's the date videos, right? Because it's always right, missus. It's always interesting these women's dating, their dating life, right? It's funny. It's good to get a interesting view from it. So let's check it out, right? Three videos, right? Three clips. So
Going on a date today. I'm going on my first Hinge date. We're going on a date today. So basically, on this date, I had been talking to this guy on Hinge for like honestly just a few days. I think we matched on the weekend. He messages me on Tuesday. We talked just a little bit, just a little banter back and forth, and he asked me out. So I'm really excited because he's cute. He was my type. And honestly, he had everything I was looking for. He happened to be Nigerian, which, I'm always on the fence about, but he had grown up here, so I was like, okay, things should probably be different. And he was from the Midwest. Well,
this is the thing, right? Women's type is always funny, right? Women's type is always funny because women show their type is just shitty ass men. That's women's type, shitty ass men.
not Midwest, but like lower Midwest. I just don't want to say the state. And we had planned this date, and I was supposed to meet him on Friday, which is when I did the get ready with me to go do. I did the whole video. Anyways, so I get dressed, I meet him up there. I'm actually pretty excited. He's very tall. His profile, he's like 6'1" or 6'2". He works in private equity, and he was a good looking guy. So really excited. I get to the restaurant, it's fine, like we're cool, everything's like great. See him. I'm just nervous because it's my first date since like really like my first like actual date where I actually like am attracted to a person since I've been single, and I've been single for like about 10-11 months at this point. And I get to the restaurant, we're talking, everything is going great, the banter is fine, and then I ask him what college he goes to, and like he's just like, oh, it's this really small college up north on the East Coast. He says the name. Now I literally couldn't pretend, like I couldn't hide my face. I literally jaw dropped. Why? Because this college is a very specific school. It's very small. The total population of the entire university is about 2,000 people, slightly more, like 2,200 people. So really, really small. My ex happened to go here. One thing my ex always told me is everybody in this college knows everybody. So I'm like, oh God, wow. If he went to like NYU or something, I'd be like, fine, he probably doesn't know anybody. No, I knew they knew each other. So he's like, what? I'm like, were you ever like in a frat? Because my ex was in a frat. He was like, yeah. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, my ex graduated from there. He says, what year? The year my ex graduated, a year before him. He's like, what's his name? I say his name. He was like, yeah, that's my friend. So I'm on a date with my ex's friend. I'm not the.
What's her type, right? This is what I want to share too, right? Women's type is always their failure, right? Never trust a woman that says, "Oh, I date outside my type," because they don't. They really don't. They think they do by saying, "Oh, I date a white man," right? If they're black, or if you're a white woman, I date a black man. Yet he's still the same type. Okay, maybe 6 foot, athletic. Maybe it's really a clear cut. Like they're mirror images, just probably like change of facial or race. They're the same.
Type of person who's going to like go out with my ex's friends. I'm sorry, I don't dip in the same honey pot. No, like no, I'm not gonna do that. So at that point, I was like, well, this was fun. Date's practically over, so let me go. And he was just like, no, it's fine. We're not even close like that. It's fine. Like, let's just keep going on the date. So I'm like, okay, knowing that I probably wouldn't see him after this any longer, but whatever. We're having such a great time, laughing. He's really funny. He's making me laugh. He's telling me stories. I'm having such a great time. And here's where it starts going south. We leave the restaurant. He said we were going to dinner. We only got drinks, only 2 drinks. And I was like, huh. He said he was gonna order some food, and then we ended up not ordering anything. And I was just like, okay, whatever, it's fine, it's cool. We leave the restaurant. We're walking in Five Die because he knew the restaurant because he used to live close by. We're walking in Five Die, and he said he wanted to show me this like park up somewhere. It's a closed area, so we're gonna have to sneak in. I'm like, sure. As we're walking, he's walking far ahead of me, and I'm like, this is so, I don't know, this is like kind of weird. Like, and I'm wearing heels. He's wearing regular shoes. I'm like, why are you walking so far ahead of me? I was really cold, so I wasn't really paying attention or whatever. And so I was like shivering. I was like, God, why is it so cold? It was like 69 degrees out, but we're by the water because right at the tip of Manhattan. We're by the river. And he was like, oh, you'll adjust. He wasn't wearing a jacket, so I didn't expect him to give me my jacket, but like, that's not a nice thing to say, I thought to myself. And I'm like, okay, whatever. We ended up sneaking up into this like hidden park that he was telling me about. And like, there were a lot of stairs. He's like going, I'm like following behind.
I also think it's weird. She's already not interested in him, right? But yet it seems like she is. That's why women's viewpoint is so silly, right? It's really silly. You just said in your mind, like, this is, you'll never see him again. Yet you find red flags in him regardless. Are you actually into him and you're noticing things, or because it's like, are you invested in it or are you not? Yes. Very nice chest. Yes, I agree.
Trucking with my heels. I can walk in heels pretty comfortably, but it was like, I don't know, I'm just used to something different. I'm just used to like a different type of care. We get there, everything's cool. We're like laughing, joking while I race you. Like, it's cool. Someone eventually comes and kicks us out. We're having like a pretty decent time. And then we're continuously walking. As we're walking, he's still far ahead of me. And like, I'm like, do you just not care if I'm like beside you? I'm used to like, when I'm with a guy, he always makes sure I'm inside. He always makes sure I'm safe. I'm used to a certain type of courtesy. So I guess I was expecting that wrong. Now, we see some city bikes like parked at some point, and I was like, oh, do you want to bike? Like, do you want to go for a midnight ride? Because it was like midnight at this point. And he was like, you know what? Yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, bet. So he goes up to it, and he was just like, oh, I also get these for free. He's like putting it in, and I'm trying to like figure out mine. He's like, oh, I get these for free. And I'm like, oh, if you get these for free, can you get mine for free? And he was like, I just put mine. I just did mine, so no. I'm like, okay, no problem. I paid for mine. Now, I'm not going to get into what I think a man should pay for or whatever, but like I said, I'm used to a different type of courtesy. We're biking, he's ahead of me. He's always ahead of me. He'll turn back and look to see if I'm trailing behind, but I'm biking in heels and he's ahead of me. Even when he's turning, I don't know where he's
why would you it's like, why would you even suggest it then? Sometimes it's just women's like viewpoint on things is just weird. Why would you suggest biking then? Yeah, him paying. It's like, really? It's
turning to, I have to turn, and we're biking, and there are like cars and everything. And the whole time I'm just thinking to myself, do you like even like me? Like, I don't know. Like, there's just a way you act like when you actually care about someone, or like you're getting to know someone and you want to know more about them and you care. I wasn't getting that at all. I felt like I was being kind of punished, and he's like biking ahead and whatever. Either way, they kept going up and down like this, because at some point we started like joking around. We're biking down the West Side Highway and like we're racing each other, and it's like fun, and we're talking, and it's like great. Now we start biking towards, he was like, oh, let's turn this way. This way was,
and it's weird, right? Her conversation, how she's telling the story. She said things are great, and then she notices red flags. Things are great, and she knows, it's like, I don't know what you. It's like, do you like him or you don't? That's the thing where I don't understand her.
Towards his apartment. I'm like, okay, I asked him what he's looking for on Hinge. We talk about that briefly, like what we're doing here. And then I'm going to skip some parts and not give like full details, just for like, you know, we dock our bikes. He helps me kind of put it on, and then he just starts walking. And you would think, you know, like when you're in a relationship with someone and they're mad at you and they just like walk ahead of you and they leave you. That's the vibe I'm getting. So I'm like struggling. Picture like Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber when he skated off and she fell back. That's kind of like how I'm struggling to get here. So I'm like, you know, wait for me, ha ha ha. And then we're still kind of joking. Eventually, we're like walking down this like road, like the sidewalk, and there was a bar and like people are drunk and trying to get in. He's still ahead of me, so I stopped. At that point, I was very irritated because it's like, you don't care for me, so I'm gonna see if you're gonna notice if I'm behind you. He walks a little bit, and then he turns around and he looks, and he was like, I'm like, you keep walking ahead of you. I've complained about this multiple times. You don't care. Like, what are we doing? Anyways, we get to where his apartment is, and it's a walk up. The stairs are marble. I'm trying to walk up, and he's going. And I had to turn around, like, thanks for holding out your hand to help me up the stairs. And he's like, nothing happened like that was like remotely sexual or any of that. He did not even hold my hand, nothing. Like it, like I don't know if you like, you know when you can see a couple and you can tell that someone doesn't like, one person doesn't like the other. That's literally the vibe I got. And I was like, but you said we should continue this date. If you like me, you would have, like, I like whole time I'm thinking to myself, like, is it me? I'm like smelling myself. Do I stink? Because like, why are you walking that ahead of me? I know I sprayed perfume before I left. I know I sprayed deodorant. Like, I'm like looking around, smelling my breath, like, what did I do? Anyways, eventually, when I leave his apartment, like I said, nothing happened because this man did not even hold my hand. We, at first in the restaurant, we were joking, we were being sarcastic, but at some point, you know, when you're like, at some point in the day, sarcasm like has its closing time. Not here. He continued to be sarcastic the entire night, and I was like, okay, like I feel like low-key I'm being negged. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm really being negged, and I don't know what I've done to deserve this, and it's making me feel bad. As I'm leaving, he basically gave each other a hug. As
I just, you know, a lot of things where I want to show you this is just like women's. This is women's dating life, and it's just, it's a good perspective to have, right? And it just shows me like these are women. This is her type. This is her type, right? Remember in the beginning, this is her type. This is her type of man. You always wonder why women, right? They give so much effort, leeway, whatever, to their type, right? Their type of man, right? They will break rules for those men, right? They will, you know, do bend over backwards for these types of men. You always wonder why women will go for the Pookies, the Ray Rays, the Chaz, the Tyrones, whatever. Because these are their type.
giving me a hug, the hug is like really dry. And I was like, okay, give him a hug. And then he walks me to the door. He lives like 2 flights, walks me to the door, and he leaves. And he goes back into his apartment, and then I leave. I got into my Uber and I just started crying because I was like, the fact that this is my first date, this is such an awful experience. And I know it had nothing to do with me. It's probably his personal things, but I genuinely felt like shit. And like,
here's the thing, it does have to do with you. That is your type. That, how that man is, he's your type. Hell, he is a friend of your ex. Your ex. Right? He was your ex for a reason. It's like these women can't, like, just like the Kendra G video I did. Women consistently date the same type of man and then wonder, why am I still single? Why am I having a hard time? Why am I constantly picking these types of men? Wake up! You are the problem. Right? Wake up! You want these men. And then you get only failure from dating these types of men. Wake up!
it was just like, I did.
That I admit, right? That dude, when like he did won the day, right? Honestly, I was wondering why he continued, but you know what? To be honest, he was probably using her just to waste time, right? Just for the experience, just to hang out and chill. When he said like, okay, bye, that man, he didn't care, right? He did not care. I think that honestly, in my opinion, where the story took a left turn is probably at the beginning, where she said she was going to end the date, right? When she felt like he knew her ex-boyfriend. And then she said that she probably didn't want to end it and all this stuff. In his mind, like, hell with it, right? I'm already out, right? I have nothing to do. So really, I'm just going to chill with this girl until I'm ready to go home, right? I think that's where he took a left turn, right? Where that's it. I'm using this girl just to fill out the dead space.
Not deserve any of this. I don't know what I did. Like, and I know you don't, I know you did not know that, like, me and my ex were together because, like you said, you guys barely, like, you guys don't text each other or anything. You're not that close. So why was I being treated like this? Like, the entire date was just literally so bad. So,
the entire date was so bad. That's why it's like you really can't understand women's train of thought, because you guys heard it yourself. Plenty of moments within that date, she said it was great. So does it make sense that now her assessment of the date was totally bad? It's like throughout the date, she's repeated multiple times that it was great.
yeah, I came home and I just like really felt bad about myself and like obviously teared up about it. But like he didn't do anything to harm me, nothing. I just felt like he hated me, and so that's just like literally that. But it's not even the worst I've experienced within trying to go back on Hinge. So I think the biggest gag of all probably was the fact that he then texted me afterwards, like, I had a really great time. I hope you had fun too. I would love to do this again sometime. Yeah, that, I think that probably was what sent me into a spiral.
You know, this is a 9-minute video, so I probably won't go to her next clip. I didn't know how long it was, right? So it is what it is. I just wanted to show, because I want to do, like, I see a lot of these TikTok videos of women talking about their dating life. I wanted to react to, I want to react to more of them, you know, down the road, because I think it's a good perspective, right, for men to see women's dating life. So you get a good view of women's hypocrisies, delusions, their how they view things, right? How they go about things, how they view the date. Because here, just one thing, right? She has said multiple times the date was great. Right? She did say that there was red flags, but she said multiple times that the date was great. And then she said the whole date was terrible. Okay, what? And here's the thing where you also say, like, this is your type. Right? Men like this is your type. And then you fail, right? That's what I said. I said this in the Kendra G video. You constantly, fine, you can have whatever type you want. Do not complain when your type is your failure. Do not complain when you cannot get long-term relationship from your type. She's complaining, right? She's saying how bad it's just you. This is your type. This is what you want. So, yeah, I don't know. I just thought I like to do these reaction videos of women's dating journey or whatever, because I think it's interesting. I hope you guys like it, but tell me if you guys do.